we're probably going to spend like the next half hour to an hour chatting about this because there's a lot of people who are upset about some of the changes being made.
But no one is upset about the Varsity Charm still being available throughout year 7. Get it for free by subbing to the Twitch channel with Twitch Prime or use $5.
The big one will come later. First, we'll look through some of the designer notes. This is all designer notes that just got released, and on top of this, the test server just got updated today with a lot of these changes. So we're gonna go through a few of them. So first, before we go through the changes, though, we look at the win deltas. As you can see, a lot of the attackers are starting to get towards that 0% line, which means that they win just as much as they lose. Except for a few outliers like Monty with the -7, Finka with the +3, and being way too overpicked. This is mainly coming from the grenade/LMG meta. Finka has LMG and grenades and heals. Yana has grenades and good intel, grenades, good gun, good gadget, good gun, good gadget, good gadget, good gun. There's a lot of stuff. They have so much. And then attack needs to be reeled in. Defense is a little bit more, evenly distributed. Not evenly distributed, more perfectly distributed. They want as many people close to this axis as possible, and they're getting close to it. The only outliers are Jaeger, Melusi, and Valkyrie. Valkyrie obviously going to get picked less and less with cams being nerfed, but this is a good start. Melusi got nerfed, still picked a decent amount, and then Jaeger, and all the way over here, but a negative win rate. So win deltas overall, I would say look pretty decent. Obviously, Jaeger, Finka, and Yana need to be reeled in a bit more, but Jaeger used to be at a 90% pick rate, so that's good. Ash used to be at 90, and now is at 30. Now, for the big changes and where a lot of people are going to lose their goddamn mind, even though I don't think this change is nearly as impactful as they say it is. Oh, wait, to go through we don't really care about the bans. Top bans, Thatcher, Jackal, surprisingly. Mira, Valkyrie, surprisingly. I'll just start with the big one. I'll rush past to it. Smoke. The change is going to be that Smoke is now vulnerable to his own toxic gas. People lost their minds today over this. Like, people were going crazy saying this is the worst thing to ever happen and it's somehow going to make Smoke completely useless. Which, first off, just so wrong. Smoke is going to be completely fine. Second, this is not that big of a change. So, the main reason why they're making this change, like they said, is to remove his hyper-aggressive playstyle, which I still don't really understand that. I think that's kind of dumb. I think that the reason they should have given, which I believe everyone would be more, agreeing to, is if they made it, they want to remove all passives. I think that's fine. We got rid of the Zofia Withstand because it was a stupid passive that had no point in being in the game because only one person had it for an arbitrary reason. I find personally that Smoke's canisters are in the same boat. I have said for a while now that I think innate passives that only some people have is just stupid. I hated Zofia Withstand. I didn't like that Ella could deploy Grismots while downed. I didn't like that Ella and Zofia both had more immunity to those Grismots than other people. I didn't like any of those passives. Getting rid of them was a great idea. Getting rid of the Smoke passive, I think, is fine. Next, we'll probably see Ying lose her passive. Which, that one I can kind of understand a bit more because it would make her significantly more useless than Smoke. Getting rid of Smoke's ability to be immune in his own gas does not actually affect him. And then we had a whole discussion about this in my Discord. Basically, 2 kids in my Discord who were raging about this. One, if you're going to be a good Smoke player, generally you shouldn't be pushing into your own Smoke. For a variety of reasons. The number one reason being, if you're inside your Smoke, and the other team is on the other side of it, they're going to see you before you can see them, meaning you're going to push through the smoke and just die. That's dumb. You shouldn't be doing that. And then 2, actually, no. We'll keep that just the 1. I'll continue with more points, though. So overall, it's not going to affect like any holds other than maybe the one argument we kept having in the Discord was the elbow hold of Oregon basement, where some people will push up. I still don't think you should push up in that. You should be using smokes to delay the push as opposed to being aggressive with it, because if you die, then you lose any other smokes you have, and generally you're not going to get kills when you push up because they're just going to be waiting and watching through the smoke. So, kind of a dumb idea to push up anyways. One point I do want to make, this jumped into my brain while I'm thinking of everything. I'll pull it up on my phone because I don't want to accidentally pull up anything on my browser that will show up on stream / the recording. So, people had some really stupid takes in my mentions today because I tweeted about it saying that I was excited about this change. Someone said, so Smoke, who's wearing a gas mask with a filter unlike Sledge and Thatcher, is vulnerable to his own gas. Makes sense, Ubisoft. I replied with, I've personally never been a fan of innate passives for select operators and not others. I get that it makes sense, but I would rather everyone be on the exact same playing field, meaning like everyone is immune or no one's immune, stuff like that. And then first we lost Sophia Withstand, now we lost Smoke immunity, next hopefully Yin Candela resistance. And then I had the dumbest reply I've ever seen. Someone said, so what about claymores or shock immunity or barbed wire, etc.? Saying that claymores should kill attackers and that like bandits and cage should hurt defenders. Now chat, I want you guys to tell me whether you agree with that statement or not. That if Smoke is going to lose his invulnerability, that claymore should blow up on attackers. Because I want to make a point here. He's not wrong. Dub statement, true. It's essentially the same idea. Okay. So the reason why I want to bring this up is because you guys are fucking stupid. So, I said, you're confusing passives with team gadgets, which are completely different. If we want to get down to the nitty-gritty levels of, oh, Claymore should destroy attackers or kill attackers, then when you're reinforcing on defense, reinforcements should be in a box that you have to walk over, pick up, carry over to the wall, put down, put in, and then walk back and get another reinforcement. That is the level of siege you want. And then just so you guys know, the person that some of you just agreed with said, Zofia Withstand was fun. So if you are agreeing with that person, you're agreeing with one of the dummies who believe that Zofia Withstand was perfectly fine and should not have been removed. Just want to let you know you're on that same level, same wavelength. Comparing it to other shit is so stupid. People keep saying like barbed wire should slow down defenders, claymore should blow up attackers. Those are overall things. Let me like spell it out, I guess, because there's gonna be some dumbasses who really don't understand. When you put down barbed wire for defense, all defenders walk through it at the same speed. All attackers walk through it at the same speed as other attackers. Everyone is the same. Sometimes all of defense gets some type of advantage for defender stuff. Sometimes all of attack gets some type of advantage for attacker stuff. Situations like this with Smoke, everyone's on the same field except for one person. We should not have stuff in game that only affects, or that doesn't affect just one person in particular cases. That makes the game harder to learn. It makes it inconsistent because we don't like having one person have one special thing. That's stupid. And it also pushes new players away from playing the game because like, oh, this is how it works here, but it doesn't work like that over here. And they just don't understand the inconsistencies in the game. Then mute should affect Mozzie. Okay, this is another really stupid claim that a lot of people are making. They're like, okay, well, everyone should affect everyone else's gadgets. Again, For this situation, I'll break it down super, super simple so even your little pea-sized brain can understand this. What's happening now is that if a smoke canister explodes, aka, smoke starts coming out, everyone gets hurt. There are no exceptions. In the situation you are talking about, mute jammers affect all attacking gadgets. All defending gadgets don't get affected. It is the same thing for all gadgets on one side or the other. If you're on attack, you're affected. If you're on defense, you're not affected. Obviously, for some small things like EMPs, they can't be affected. Otherwise, you could never counter a mute jammer, but that has to happen. Having smoke be the only one who's vulnerable or invulnerable does not have to happen because it doesn't actually need to be there. It also doesn't change anything. There's a reason why population targeted by this change is casual. Because it's not going to affect higher rank play because you should not be pushing through the smoke. Does that make sense now to you guys? Why smoke losing this is not the same as mute jammers affecting team gadgets. I would like the idea of Ying being maybe more affected by her candelas. Again, Ying is a special case because with smoke, him being hurt by his smoke canister doesn't actually change much because you're not generally pushing through the smoke. You use smoke as a way to block people from pushing in. Ying, if you make it where her visor no longer protects against candelas, how do you really use candelas then? Because you can't push in. You can use it as a way to like flash them and then try to get a plant down. That could work. But you kind of remove like a huge ability of what she can do. Again, with smoke, you're not really changing that much. Plus, just throwing this out there, Ying gets countered by Wamai, Warden, Jaeger. Who does smoke get countered by? Nobody. If anything, smoke has attacking things that benefit him. At least I'm pretty sure this is still in the game. If you have Finka on the attacking side and you Finka boost, I believe it's you take 1.5 times more damage per tick from smoke. Meaning that instead of 15 damage per tick, you take 22.5, meaning you die in 5 ticks as opposed to 7. Glass isn't a counter to smoke because everyone can see through the smoke. The smoke is not that thick, you can easily see through it. If you have to do that for Ying, then same for Blitz being unaffected by his own flash, only for parity reasons. That doesn't make any sense. Again, we're coming to the whole point of people grasping at straws to try to make comparisons that don't make any sense. Blitz is not affected by his flash because it's on the shield in front of him going out that way. Okay? If it's on a shield and you're like this and the flash comes from below your sight line, flashes out to people in front of you, it's not going to affect you. There's a reason why Blitz only affects people in a cone right in front of him. Mr. Suri has a gas mask. I know you're joking. But there's actually so many people making that complaint, being like, but he has a gas mask. He should be invulnerable. Do you know how many people in this game have a gas mask cosmetic? Would you guys be fine with, oh, Ashe has a mask now, she's immune to gas canisters if she has that one headgear? It's like, no, that'd be fucking stupid. And then people will always be like, oh, but like, smokes is different. It's fucking masks. That's when people start getting into nitty gritty details. But then when I start making comparisons, like, no. Doesn't make any sense. It's dumb. Don't freak out over the smoke change. It's realistically, first off, let's be honest here, chat. None of you are running smoke. You guys can't control the SMG-11. I can't even control the SMG-11. You guys aren't playing smoke for the team. You're fucking running around as Jaeger trying to spawn peek and dying. Smoke change does not affect you. So don't freak out over it. If you were a good smoke player, then you wouldn't be freaking out. Other changes. Operator balancing. So Bandit can now deploy multiple batteries on the same reinforcement or gadget. I read this and I was just like, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. And then I read their explanation. I was like, holy shit, that actually makes so much sense. I'm fucking stupid. Basically now instead of having to pick up a bandit battery and put down a new one, you can just put down a second one in case the first one gets EMP'd or destroyed right away or whatever. You don't have to like go through the whole motion of picking one up and resetting it. So this will actually make bandit tricking so much easier. The only possible downside I could see is it depends on how it registers. If a bandit battery is in the way, it might be really hard to get it down. You might have to like move around to an awkward position, but it all depends on how they implement it. Either way, it's a good change. Being able to put down multiple is good. Blackbeard loses breaching charges and gets a claymore instead. There's a big change coming to claymores that you guys will see later. This I think is fine. It actually makes a lot of sense because Blackbeard sits on windows or repels like majority of the round. Why not have a claymore to protect, right? Otherwise he has flashes or breaching charges. Flashes if you want to be more aggressive, claymore if you want to hold an angle. Makes sense. Don't think it'll change much. I don't think Blackbeard's going to see more play because of this, but makes sense. Gridlock gets 4 canisters instead of 3. This is hoping to make her be able to cover more ground, which makes sense. Right now, she can basically cover like 2 staircases behind you and then maybe 1 hallway. And then now it's like, okay, you have more options and you have like more spam in case you want to save it all at once and just go. And this is 100% true. Operators like Nomad are just way more consistent because the tracks are easier to take care of than the Nomad canisters and can be done so like really quietly because you can just knife them. Nomads you can't. So giving her more is better. Nomad plus Oryx, slight nerf. Operators who get knocked over can recover 37.5% faster than before. So your recovery time is 1.25 seconds instead of 2 seconds. Let me see, this highlighted message. Smoke was the only one that didn't get hurt, and it was stupid. This is not the same as anything. With mute jammers, it's for the whole team is not affected. With Smoke, it was everyone but him. Exactly. That's a very concise way of putting it. Overall, everyone's the same. And then for Smoke, it was everyone's the same except for Smoke, which is dumb. But yeah, so being knocked over, you recover much faster, which is going to be... I feel like these two changes together are going to make Gridlock significantly better than Nomad. Actually, that's not true. Nomad has a lot of other advantages. Because you put Nomads on windows, they jump out, they get knocked over, and then they're just dead, basically. Even if they recover faster, they're still dead because they're outside downed. Gridlock, you could jump out, shoot someone, and then just jump back in. The amount of gridlocks is not going to really change that. But it'll make her a slightly better pick while making Nomad a slightly worse pick. Oryx, as an Oryx main, I feel like having him have a different recovery time for people to get downed would be better. Like make people who get down by Oryx take longer to get back up. But I, again, understand Ubisoft's wanting to be consistent. That's why Smoke is losing his passive. They want the operators to all have consistency. And it makes sense. It just sucks to see Oryx get that nerf because Oryx is already considered to be one of the worst defenders in terms of what he brings to the table. So, in the incredibly, incredibly rare situation where you actually knock someone over as Oryx, now you're going to be punished for it rather than rewarded. Or not punished, but you have a higher chance of being punished. So, I'm kind of iffy on that one. Warden. Warden's ability now lasts 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds and has a cooldown of 20 seconds instead of 10 seconds. This is I think, overall decent change. I don't think it really changes too much because Warden can activate his gadget while it's recharging before he had to wait for the full cooldown. So now this just gives you like more leeway. You don't have to worry about timing it perfectly. You can just pop it whenever you need it because 20 seconds is a long time. I don't think this is going to affect much at the higher ranks. This is why it's mainly a casual change. It's just for people who don't really understand how to time the Warden gadget or how to use it effectively. Ying. So they have not removed Ying's passive. This is just her gadget being changed. Her flashes now last half as long, which is really, really short. So basically, if you want to flash and push someone, you have to throw it, immediately jump in, and basically be pushing them before it goes off. or you have to throw multiple, but they take so long to detonate that you'd have to basically not cook any of them. Just go like throw, and then jump in. But then also, yeah, she has 4 candelas now instead of 3. Yeah, I don't really see this helping her at all. I think this is going to be more of a nerf than a buff, because now people will recover so fast that they can just kill you. It doesn't matter if you have the extra candela. I would say this is a good change if they reverted the Ying change where, remember how she used to be able to just spam them? Like if you just threw it, it would immediately explode. And now you have to cook them for it to immediately explode. If they reverted that and made it where they always just immediately explode, I think that would be perfectly fine to reduce how long people are flashed. Because like going from 3 seconds basically to 1.5 seconds basically that's a big change. But they said that they're going to monitor and see. Again, all these changes are on test server. None of them are actually going to live yet. They probably will. Actually, wait, does it say in this latest edition of Designer Notes, we'll go into more detail about the balancing changes that'll come with Demon Veil's mid-season balancing update and give you an insight into the reasons. Okay, actually, no, these are actually coming to live. I thought they were just for test server to test, and then they were going to decide, but these are all coming to live. So now I can actually clickbait the video saying 100% smoke is getting nerfed, and then have people freak the fuck out. Yeah, I think this is a bad change overall for Ying. I think it's going to make her way less viable. But overall changes good. 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 Rough but understandable. Good. Good. Bad. Bad for Ying. Good for everyone else. Last change. Gadget balancing Claymore. Now you'll have 2 Claymores instead of 1. I think this is a lot. But it's also, it's in the same situation as the hard breach devices. So when the hard breach device came out, no one ran it because having just 1 fucking sucked. Then they brought out 2, and it deploys faster, and everyone started running them for hatches because they're really good for hatches. But then it's like 2 is kind of too much, 1 is too little. And I feel like Claymores are in the same spot where it's like 2 is a little bit too many Claymores, but 1 isn't enough. So kind of torn on this because like the main reason why you would bring like Nomad or Gridlock is because, hey, we have multiple ways of being flanked. Set up air jabs or tracks to prevent them. And now it's like, oh, we can just bring Claymores, which Claymores are a lot easier to destroy. It's not hard and easier to see. So I don't think it'll be too crazy, but that's still a lot. You're basically going to have like 4 Claymores on average on attack. You're going to have a lot of places that you're going to have to be careful of. Before we finish talking about the notes, though, I'm going to go into a custom game to show you Smoke being hurt by his own gas canisters. Also, I saw a few people talking about Rainbow Six Mobile. I saw that got announced. Does it have a release date, or is it already out? I had heard about that. And overall, I think it's fine. I have no problem with them coming out with a mobile game. If anything, it'll just bring more people to Siege, which is good. Okay, I'm gonna detonate this at the 2950 to see how long it takes to kill. I can't remember. Five seconds to kill, and there you have it. Smoke dies to his own gas canisters. That's the thumbnail right there. Smoke surrounding him, he's on the ground. Easy thumbnail. And I know a lot of people are going to get pissed because I was really aggressive by saying people are stupid for thinking that this change is horrible, blah, blah, blah. But I honestly don't think that the change is that bad. I think people who are freaking out about it, one, realistically don't know how to play Smoke. And two, overestimate how often people actually push through Smoke. Because no one really pushes through Smoke unless... The only times I ever see people push through Smoke are if we are already losing like 3-0 and they have nothing to lose basically. They're just like, fuck it, like swing on everything. Then they'll go through. Or, and this is no offense to you guys, but kind of also gives you an idea of who does it. The only time I ever see other people push through Smoke are when they're like silver or below. Because they think it's a great opportunity to push. and then they push through the smoke, they can't see anything because the smoke is so thick, and we can just see them walking. We just light them up and kill them. So it really makes no sense to push through the smoke unless you are in basically an unlosable situation. But even then, it'd be better to just throw down the smokes, have them push you and be blinded while getting hurt, and then you just shotgun them. There's just never a better reason to push through smoke than just to wait. So people need to stop freaking out. Post-plant situations, I mean, still, you... So, okay, I'll quickly explain this but then before we go into actual playing. Why you shouldn't really be doing that much for post-plant situations. If you are... So the diffuser's planted here. The attacker runs away and sits here. Why would you smoke canister where the diffuser is when you could smoke off where the attacker is, prevent them from pushing back, and then go for the diffuse? If you put the smoke on yourself, they're going to be like, oh, they're on the diffuser, and then they just swing and kill you because they're not going to get affected by the smoke. You should use the smoke to choke out the attackers and prevent them from pushing. Or if they do push, then they get punished. In a 2v1 situation, that's an even worse situation to gas yourself. You gas them, and then your teammate covers to make sure they can't push through the gas, and then you defuse. There is never really a time where smoking and pushing into the smoke is better than just waiting. Even if it's like the attackers are in a 2v1 situation, smoking yourself is still the stupidest fucking play because you are obscuring your own vision, you're sitting on the diffuser vulnerable, and they can push up and kill you without taking damage. Smoking yourself is just never really a smart play. But that is it for the patch notes. We've gone through it all. Ban rates we didn't really talk about, but honestly none of this is really surprising. I'm more surprised with how often no bans are coming in. I think this is just a representation of people in the community who don't want to have bans anymore in the game. They're just tired of banning the same operators all the time. So they're just like, fuck it, no ban. Or, more realistically, this is the percentage of the community that AFKs at the beginning of the round and doesn't participate in the bans. Yeah, that is the patch notes. This is for the mid-season patches coming, or mid-season patch coming this season, which I'm going to guess is going to be in like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. It could be earlier, but it seems weird that they would have just had the 0.1 patch and then have the 0.2 patch right after. So I'm going to guess 2 weeks from now this will deploy.